Welcome to all of you who are present attending today's webinar, uh, which is based and which is going to talk and discuss more around the very important uh, ecosystem today, which we are building, especially after the NEP 2020, which is something that has been there around for years, and especially us as the Indian subcontinent or Bharat being one of the most ancient civilizations in the world. I think something that is close to all of us as Indians. So welcoming all of you to our webinar on Indian knowledge systems. And it's my pleasure to welcome our host also, who is joined us today, and our speaker for today, which is Ms. Deepti Hasabi. And Deepti Hasabi has been an author. She has been a wonderful artist. At the same time, has pursued Indian knowledge systems from all sides and all dimensions possible. She is currently working with Hubble Hawks very closely, and is going to be our speaker for today. And before I give it over to Deepti, I shall also give you a very brief introduction about myself. My name is Ojas, and I am the head of strategy at Hubble Hawks. Hubble Hawks is a technology company which is empowering a lot of schools and higher educational institutions around us today in India. So before we start off with the session, I am going to start a poll here in this webinar, and I would request each one of you to respond to two polls that I'm going to begin. I will initiate the both the polls right away, and please, you will see the polls, on your screen. So please check them out and respond to both the polls. They are important for us, and your responses are important for us to understand about your interest, at the same time your existing knowledge about Indian knowledge systems. Right, so let us begin the polls. I have started with the first one. There are 27 attendees till now, and we have received some responses. We have received about 17 responses, now 18 and counting and more. So requesting each one of you to vote on this poll so that we are able to understand what is, where do you stand in terms of your knowledge and awareness about Indian knowledge systems so far. Let's take 30 seconds more to vote for this poll. Okay, 10 seconds more. All right, so we have about 20 people who have responded on the poll. About the poll is basically on where would you place yourself in terms of your awareness and understanding of Indian knowledge systems. The most voted answer that we have is an intermediate level, I believe, which is an extremely wonderful response, because this also tells us that you guys are not only curious and have beginner's proficiency, but do you have intermediate knowledge, which means a good amount of knowledge and experience in terms of handling this domain, or being in this domain of Indian knowledge systems. I am publishing this result now and closing this poll. So Deepti, we have received our response on the first one. Let's go back, and we shall start the second poll as well. I am just taking 1 minute here to start the poll. This poll will be live for another 60 seconds. Let's begin. I'm requesting all of you to vote for this one as well. This is basically understanding and giving us an understanding of how have you can consciously integrated IKS, Indian knowledge systems, into your teaching on home or home environment. So if you have been a teacher, have you integrated that in your classroom? Have you integrated that in your curriculum design or lesson planning? Or have you, worked with Indian knowledge systems and use that for your children or your relatives at your home? Or you're just curious to understand how to go about with this. So yes, let's wait for another 40 seconds. Okay, let's wait for 20 seconds more.
I think we should
Wonderful.
publish the results right now. Yeah.
Let's publish the results. We have 18 votes on 27, with maximum, which is 8 votes, being yes in classroom teaching. And I think, again, this is a very good example of a very well aware audience that we have got for today. So let's begin with our session for today. Very warm welcome to our speaker for the day, which is Ms. Deepti Hasabi. Deepti, wish you a very warm welcome, and over to you. Let's have a fun session and something be very insightful for today. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ojas, and thank you for the warm welcome also. I'm not sure if it is going to be a fun session today. I'll do my best, and I'm very happy with the poll results. We are beginning somewhere not at the beginning, right? We are beginning intermediate level, which is amazing. So probably I can introduce some concepts which might be new or which you already know. Probably it might give you a different perception about Indian knowledge systems or validate your own perceptions that you already have, right? So beginning with today's presentation, I have a few requests. Save your questions till the end. I'll give you a time slot to ask your questions. You can hold back your questions till then. And also it'll be great to have a notebook and pen with you. We are not writing notes per se, but if there are certain activities that might require you to draw or write a few letters or words, it is for that. You can also use your phones or other devices if you have them handy, right? It's up to you. And your mind is always there. If not anything, you can always use your imagination and mind. Yeah. So let's begin with the presentation for today. And exploring Indian knowledge systems, I would like to start this presentation with a beautiful story because we are Indians and we love stories. This story will take us through what exactly we hope to achieve by the end of the day today. And this is going to be the flow. Before we begin the story, this is going to be the flow. We are going to have a quick introduction to Indian knowledge systems and then dive a little deep to understand what are they, how to use them, when to use Indian knowledge systems, or when to use these concepts in a human being's life, and where do you see the outcome of all of these. Finally, we bring to you our Global Teachers Olympiad. So that is going to be the final section of the day's flow. Yes, coming to the story. So this is a beautiful story that I came across from our Vedas, our scriptures. This picture that you see on the screen has been done by Devdutt Patnaik ji. I just used it because it's very, very apt and very beautiful. So Rishi Bharadwaja once got to know that he is going to be completing his life cycle. And he has already lived 3 life cycles. He has learned Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda in these 3 lives of his. And he has heard that there are 4 Vedas. So he wants to dedicate 1 more lifetime for learning the 4th Veda, the Atharva Veda. And he prays to Lord Indra. Lord Indra comes. We have a peculiar pattern in our Puranas. The Devatas never seem to grant instant wishes. You know, it's never like, okay, done. No, they always have some conditions that go, conditions apply. And when Rishi Bharadwaja asks, you know, Lord Indra, please grant me 1 more lifetime. I want to study the 4th Veda. So Lord Indra is very smart. He manifests 3 huge mountains in front of him, picks a fistful of sand from each of these mountains and gives it to Rishi Bharadwaja. And he tells him, dear Rishi, what you have learned in this life is this much. This much from Rigveda, this much from Yajurveda, this much from Samaveda. And what you have left is a mountain to learn. Vedas are infinite. The learning can never be satisfactory. You will never reach a point where you think that I know everything. So this is Vedas for you. And now you decide what you want to do. This also has been beautifully summarized by Avayar Pati. With love, we call her Pati. She is a grandmother. She was an old lady, a great bhakta of Skandanatha. And what she says is, what you have learned is a handful of sand, and what you have not learned is that of the size of the world. this is supposed to be in Tamil, but even in English, what it is trying to say to us is that we have very little time and so much to learn. There's a world to explore that is in front of us. And today's session, we are going to try and probably just get a glimpse of what really are Indian knowledge systems, because the knowledge is much bigger than an ocean and much bigger than you can even imagine, much bigger than even I can imagine, right? So we are on the path to explore what these Indian knowledge systems are. And as we explore, what we come across is metaphors. You saw this metaphor that Lord Indra created for Rishi Bharadwaja, 3 mountains to explain how much knowledge he has and how much understanding he has about Vedas, right? So metaphors are a huge part of Indian knowledge systems, and our learning about them, exploration about them is incomplete without these metaphors. I present to you one such metaphor on your screen, and we will use the chat box. I invite all of you. Okay, the screen was not visible, is it? All right. I hope the screen is visible now. Can you all see this picture on your screen? Yes, there is a man who is balancing, and I invite you to put up your thoughts. What do you see from this picture? What do you infer from this? What are your thoughts about it? We'll take a few seconds to answer that. Balancing emotions and mental health is the first fact that we have received, first message. Maintaining balance between heart and mind, balance between heart and brain while taking decisions, balanced equally. Life is balanced between mind and heart, emotional balance. Okay, is it literally balancing heart and mind here, or is there a different perception that you can add? Life is a balance between mind and heart, managing intelligence and emotional management. Right, I think we are all there. Both are 2 worlds. Actually, a person is thinking, whom should I listen? Having control over both mind and heart. Yes. So the picture actually is of a person holding literal heart and the brain in his hands and trying to walk on this thin rope. However, what perceptions that we received, what all of you inferred from it is similar and yet very, very individual to who you are and what you have learned from this picture. Unbalanced situation in which your heart wants a different thing, where your brain says a different thing. Yes, that is what Mr. Akshay says. Whereas somebody like Mr. Prasad says both are 2 different worlds completely. Managing intelligence and emotional management. Yes, so everybody has a different observation. Everybody has a different outcome from this metaphor. Metaphors are like that. So there are metaphors given in our scriptures. It's up to you how you analyze, how you apply it, and how you utilize this observation skill of yours in your personal life or in your classroom or at your home. And since we are a group of teachers here talking to each other, we must know the Bloom's taxonomy of thinking skills. When we talk about metaphors, when you introduce metaphors to children also, what you get them to do is bring a knowledge concept into their world, help them understand, help them make sense out of this, and help them analyze what it really means. You're getting them to think in 3 different ways. We have ways beyond this also, but for now, metaphors, you know something comes into your awareness, you try and understand what is coming into your awareness, and finally you analyze and come up with your observation of this metaphor, right? So this is the first concept that we have to know before we get into the knowledge systems. The second is something called as learning curve, and I'm sure all of you would have heard about this learning curve. The Western world has a different definition of learning curve. We don't have a learning curve. What Western world has is a very linear way of learning. Time with, the concepts that come into your world. Languages versus time, or learning processes that change over a period. So all of this is related to time and learning. And the curves, even if you plot different X and Y axis, the curves are very linear in nature. They are growing from 0 to somewhere else with different dimensions and different geometries. Where when we come to Bharata and the learning systems of Bharata, for us, everything is a chakra. Kala Chakra you have heard of. We start with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, January, February, December, we come back to January. Everything happens in a chakra for us, right? So these wheels are very, very important part of our culture, and the same applies to the learning systems. I'm taking the metaphor of a sugarcane motor. You would have all had sugarcane on the road, right? In these small shops. What you observe is that the person puts the sugarcane inside and the motor squeezes this juice out, and they don't discard that cane. They fold it, put it back again, gather some more juice, fold it, reinsert, get some more juice, and it goes on till there is not even a drop of juice left in that poor sugar cane, right? It's completely squeezed out. So how is this applicable to us? I want you to imagine this reverse. When we give knowledge tidbits to children, when we give these seeds or tablets to students, what happens with Indian knowledge systems is that when they start chewing this tablet or this dose of information or knowledge or concept, then each time they chew, there is juice that comes out, juice of learning that comes out. And this juice increases with time. With sugarcane juice, the quantity of juice reduces as you keep putting it back again and again. Whereas here, when you keep chewing it, more and more juice keeps coming out of it, the juice of learning. So it happens in a reverse way. It happens in a spiral. Like, let's take this picture that will help us learn better. Let's say I have taught my student the concept of the balance between head and heart, right? The balance between thinking and emotional intelligence. So the student is here to begin with, and with metaphors, with stories, with characters, with different teaching methodologies related to Indian knowledge systems, I am exposing this child to multiple experiences, multiple practices, multiple techniques. Then the learning of the same concept becomes a lot more. The child shifts from here to this point. Can you see the mouse on my screen? I'm not sure if you're able to see the mouse. Okay, so let's use the colors. The child shifts from the yellow circle, the yellow spiral, to the green. And once again, when these techniques are given, or when the child is given an opportunity to chew this, to churn this, the child learning and the concepts that emerge out shift from green to blue, and so on. And it is an infinite spiral. It keeps growing and expanding and expanding. That is what learning is for the Indians and the Bharatiya way of teaching and learning, right? Yes, I think Hetalji has put up learning is continuous, and it's a spiral, lifelong journey of growth. Next, what else is part of Indian knowledge systems is abstract concepts. We are known for our mathematical thinking and analytical skills, right? It is very easy for Indians. And why is that? As a tradition, as a culture, we have been learning, we have been exposed, we have been taught abstract concepts, even without our knowledge. For example, let's do this small thought experiment. Okay, I invite all of you to draw happiness. You can't put up your drawings here, but you can definitely put up what can be a drawing, what can be a representation of that for you. How would you draw happiness? What will you draw? What comes to your mind when you think of happiness? Gift. Kennel says gift. Gift makes you happy, but is that happiness itself? Something to think about. A happy face, dil dimag, okay. It's Q&A section also. Maybe gift of time, again, that makes you happy, but is that happiness itself? Think it's a feeling, can't be written. Okay, result of work done. Result is expression of happiness. Smile is an expression of happiness. gifting people and sitting in nature with friend. That is what makes you happy. But is that really happiness? Surya, is that really happiness? Right? And now I invite you to draw something else, okay? Peak of learning and family. Again, is that really, can you draw happiness? That is what makes you happy, but that is not really happiness, right? I invite you to draw prosperity. How will you draw prosperity? What comes to your mind when you think of prosperity? We can't, it's a feeling. Yes, I was coming back to that. We can't, it's a feeling. Happiness is a feeling, right? So these concepts are so abstract that they may not have a geometrical representation, or sometimes even a representation with words, with feelings, right? These are abstract concepts that the human mind cannot imagine. But guess what our rishis have given us? What do you use in your classrooms or at home to teach your children geography? What is a learning aid or a prop would you use to teach geography? Use your chat boxes to show the child that continent of Africa is situated here. You would use a map or a globe, right? Yes, a globe, a model. And what about if you have to teach biology and you have to show, yes, a map. If you have to show the parts of a human body, parts that we can't see with our naked eyes, parts that are inside us, you will show pictures, you will show models. And all of these are manipulatives and learning props and teaching aids that we use. Now, our culture is full of abstract concepts. We are talking about concepts that are beyond the understanding of a human mind, and it is very difficult to get somebody to imagine these concepts. How do you imagine something that is beyond imagination itself? Or how do you imagine something that has no characteristics at all? Like if you define an apple, apple has a shape, it has got a color, it has got a taste, it has got a smell. All of these define an apple. But what if the apple did not have a color? What if the apple did not have a taste? What if apple did not have a shape? Apple did not have any characteristics. Then how do you explain the concept of apple to anyone? Right? These abstract concepts were defined by our rishis. They have brilliantly given us learning props. And let me give you an example. Can you imagine Ganesha as a learning prop? Can you imagine Ganesha as a learning prop? We just celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi all across our country, right? Is a learning prop for what? What concept do you understand by looking at Ganesha? Yeah, I'm waiting. Before I go on to give an answer, my answer. What can you use Ganesha to teach children? What can you teach from the iconography of our cute little Ganesha? With a big stomach and a huge trunk and big ears and small eyes. Yes, Mr. Sanjay, many things are learned. Dr. Sanjay. Surgery. Smita ji says surgery. Okay. In our culture, Ganesha is the god of buddhi, intelligence. If I ask you to draw intelligence, how will you draw? But if you show Ganesha and explain intelligence, this is how intelligence looks like. It has got big ears because if you have to be intelligent, you have to listen. Simple concept like that. Or how does the energy of intelligence flow? It flows like the mouse because Vahana, the vehicle on which Ganesha travels, is that little rat. And how do rats travel? You have seen rats get in anywhere and everywhere. Even a small space is enough for them to get through. Intelligence travels like that. It can get through anywhere. It can make way anywhere. It can pop up anywhere, probably destroy and damage things also, right? That is how the energy of intelligence works. An abstract concept like intelligence is depicted through an iconography of Ganesha. Prosperity is depicted by Lakshmi and the Ashtalakshmis, and so on. So many, we have so many crores of Devi and Devatas. Each one represents an abstract concept that is important for a human being's life. That is what Indian knowledge systems, the true power of Indian knowledge systems is what I can say. Right. Now with this, let's take another metaphor To understand what we are going to do today, we are going to be taking a metaphor of a dish, of a recipe. If somebody has to cook a dish, we need three components. One is the recipe. What are the ingredients that go into that dish, right? What is the quantity? What are the ingredients? And how do these ingredients look like? That is what we need. Second, we need the method to put these ingredients together. What comes after what? How much to cook? When to cook? What is the method to cook, right? And the third thing is, finally, when I have made this dish, how should the final outcome look like? Should it look like a flat bread, like a chapati? Should it look like a chutney? Should it look like a pizza? Should it look like a curry? Should it be dry? Should it be crispy? All of that, the final outcome. So if I know these three components, then I can make a dish. I can create a dish. So to understand Indian knowledge systems, we are going to use this metaphor. We will understand what are the ingredients, what are the components in the Indian knowledge systems, how are they put together, and when should a human being receive these? At what point, what should come into a human being's life? And finally, what is the outcome if a person is learning the Indian knowledge systems way of learning? So what are the ingredients? And we'll go to the next slide there. They are scriptures basically, right? Method, how and when, and finally the outcome, where. Where do I see the outcome of a person who has imbibed Indian knowledge systems? So the components of Indian knowledge systems, I think this is something all of you might know, most of you might know, because intermediate group here, Shruti and Smriti. What are Shrutis? The actual definition of Shruti is something that you hear. So these are resonances that our rishis heard. They are not memories, or they are not opinions, or they are nothing but resonances and sounds that the rishis heard, which were compiled together as Vedas. And then there are Smritis. Smriti itself means something that I remember, something that is there in my memory, right? So these are scriptures that have come out of memory, come out of a human being. So in Shruti and Smriti, we have, I think there's some issue with the structure of this slide. We'll come back to that again. Yeah, so in Shruti, we have the Vedas. You have heard of the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. And in the Vedas itself, there are Brahmanas and Aranyakas. And the concluding section are the Upanishads. That's why they are called Vedantas. Brahmanas and Aranyakas are rituals, they are interpretations with respect to the concept of Vedas itself. And Upanishads are the philosophical understanding and the knowledge. You know, it is very, very like Jnana yoga kind of marga, where it is completely intellectual in nature, and that comprises the Vedanta. Only these four, in fact, not all of them, only these four make up the Shruti for us. They are the basics on which everything else is built. Our knowledge systems have these as the core components, the fundamental components. In the Smriti, we have Vedangas, we have Darshanas, we have Agamas, we have all the Bhakti literature, we have Shrutis, we have Stutis and Stotrams and Puranas and Itihasas. Everything else comes in this Smriti section. To understand what are Shrutis and Smritis, let's go a little bit deeper into this. You have a word put up in front of you. The word is transformation. And we'll take 30 seconds. I invite everybody to make as many smaller words using this transformation word. For example, for, F-O-R, for is a valid word that you can make out of this transformation, right? I'm sure all of you have played these games in your childhood. Yeah, your time starts now. For, I can see a lot of words coming up. Motion, at, form, change. No, not the meaning of the word transformation. I'm talking about using the letters of the word transformation, make smaller permutations. Mat, formation. A-N-S, okay. Mat, motion. Not. Mat. Can we try bigger words? I can see formation as one big word. Can we try other bigger words? Nation, train, and nation, formation, foundation, yeah, ration, format. Thank you. Right. So we created a lot of words from this transformation. Shrutis are like that. Our Vedas are like that. They are very dynamic. They are these basics that are given to you, and it is up to you how many words can you make out of it, how many expressions can you create from them. It depends on your ability, your vocabulary, your exposure to the words, right? If you don't know the word mat, then how can you even make a mat word? Because it will not make sense to you, right? So coming back to the spiral that you see here, in case you're at the yellow line, then the kind of words that you'll be making with this transformation could be very simple, like on, at, mat, probably a child in the first standard, right? But in case you are up above and you are in the pink section of the spiral, probably you can make much bigger words that nobody else has heard, like animation. I didn't see anybody putting up animation here. It depends on your ability and your skills and your learning potential. We'll come back to what it is, but it depends on your own interpretation, right? Now, if I change the word from transformation to, have you heard the sentence? Inviting you to make as many words using this sentence. And what is the speciality of this sentence? What is the speciality of this sentence? It has all the 26 it has all the 26 letters of the alphabet, right? So how many words can you make with this sentence? Can somebody put up a number? I'm not asking the words, but how many words can you make using this one sentence? Okay, we'll remove the rule of you can repeat as many letters in the sentence as you want. Endless, right? Infinite is the number. As many words as you can find in the dictionary, and maybe beyond that as well. So scriptures, the Shruti part of the scriptures, the Vedas are like this English sentence that you see in front of it. They include everything. They are infinite in nature. Our story started with that. Rishi Bharadwaja was given this lesson by Lord Indra. Vedas are infinite in nature. So it is up to you, your ability and your capacity and your learning potential, what you can take out of it, right? So this is the first concept. Second concept, it is an extension of the first concept itself. Can you see the primary colors in the center, the red, yellow, and blue? Vedas are like these primary colors. We have three primary colors using which we can make the entire color wheel. We can create the entire spectrum of the visible light. They are the foundations on which everything else is built. The second aspect, the third aspect of the Vedas is eternal statements like these, eternal principles like this. Death is certain for one who has been born. Now, how many of you can negate this sentence? A valid reason to negate this sentence. Can you negate this sentence? Can you say this is not possible, this is not happening, this is not true for us? Can we? No. Yes, Prasaji, I agree with you. Because no, death is certain. Death is going to come to anybody who is born. So eternal principles like this are part of the Vedas, which that's why they're called Sanatana, right? Our dharma is called Sanatana. Our way of life is called Sanatana. This is never going to go out of fashion. It is always going to be equally valid. Today, tomorrow, and a million years from now, this sentence will still have the same value as we have for it today. So to summarize, these are dynamic living entities. They are not books. You know, we are shown, okay, Brahma carries 4 Vedas as books. They are not really books. They are dynamic, living, breathing entities. And the power from these, the power to these entities are given by us. It is my potential, my ability, my skill, my knowledge that can help me interpret them, help me understand them, help me make sense out of them. And these are scriptures which are revealed. They are not of human origin. It is not limited to my intelligence or my understanding of the world. Because it is universal knowledge, they are eternal principles, universal truths about reality, about how the world came into existence, where am I going to go, what am I going to look like. All of those concepts is what is put together in the Shruti, and they form the foundation of the Indian knowledge systems. And what about the Smritis? Smritis are like the secondary colors in the color wheel. We have the primary colors red, yellow, and blue. The secondary colors orange, purple, and that green that you make, they are like that. They are interpretations of the Shruti itself. Like Puranas, for example. Let's take Puranas. They are Smritis because it has come out of understanding of a human called Rishi Vyasa and so many other rishis also. So these are concepts of Vedas put together, mixed together, and presented to us in a story format. Let's take Bhagavad Gita, part of Mahabharata, right? There again, Krishna is giving the concepts of the Vedas, of the Upanishads to Arjuna in the form of a conversation, a secondary concept of the Vedas. It is coming out of Rishi Vyasa, actually spoken by Lord Krishna about the Vedas to Arjuna. Let's talk about Bhakti literature. What a Mirabai says or what Basavarna from South India says. They are all concepts of Vedas and Upanishads only, but they have found their own vocabulary, their own styles, their own ways, and it is meant for the people of their time. Basavarna wrote in Kannada because it was applicable for the people of Karnataka. Somebody like Jnaneshwar wrote in Marathi because it was meant for those people. Kabir spoke in Hindi because that is what was Prakrit and Hindi, because that was what the people of his time needed. And when we go back, Puranas were the literature that the world needed then, and so on. So Smritis are the secondary derivatives of Vedas, and they only speak about the concepts of Vedas only. And Smritis are classified. Basically, these are basic classifications. There are a lot more. Expressions are infinite in number. Like how we did this experiment with the brown fox sentence, right? It could be millions, depending on how many people are using the Vedas to create their expressions. Vedangas, angas themselves mean parts of the Vedas. These are like chandas and vyakarana that help us understand the Veda better. Darshanas are glimpses into the Vedas. These are philosophies. We have come across Advaita, we have come across Nyaya, and so on. All of those make the darshanas. The agamas are sciences that help us interact with the energies of the world. Upavedas, like yoga is a Upaveda. They are giving a practical way of utilizing the concepts of the Vedas. Sutras and Shastras, they are like Natya Shastra, for example, or Artha Shastra, for example. Concepts of Vedas used in the application of finance or administration or dance or music. Puranas are in the story format. Vedas put together in a story format. Itihasas, histories of our own ancestors, Lord Rama in Ramayana, the Pandavas and Kauravas in Mahabharata. There again, you come across a lot of Vedantic concepts, a lot of concepts from Vedas, and the entire Bhakti literature comes into this category. We were talking about Bloom's taxonomy. Here we come across, yes, this is what is valuable to me today. This is what is valuable to my society today. And hence, I am going to compile this knowledge into the vachanas. That becomes evaluation and creation, application, evaluation, and creation. So that's how the Bloom's taxonomy is covered as part of our Indian knowledge systems. So to summarize the first part, the scriptures are the basic components. They talk about what the world around me is made up of, what am I made up of. The first part of our presentation today, what are the scriptures? They are the building blocks of our Indian knowledge systems. In a human being's life, they are what help me understand what am I made up of. Moving on to the next part, we'll go through this quickly. How are these put together? And how does a human being need to imbibe all of them? At what point? When? Where? How? So we have this concept of pramanas. If you have some exposure to Indian knowledge systems, you would have heard of this. Pratyaksha pramana, anumana, upamana, arthapati, anupalabdhi, shabda. Pratyaksha is sensorial learning. Using my senses, I make sense of the world around me. I acquire knowledge. These are my input organs. I learn from the world around me using my senses. That is pratyaksha pramana. Upamana is a comparative study. I compare and learn. Anumana is I infer and learn. Compare is like this is big, this is small, this is far, this is near. Anumana is I infer. Because there is smoke, I infer that there is a fire that is creating this smoke. Or because LHS and RHS is equal, so I infer that my steps are correct, right? Hence proved. Arthapati is postulation. I postulate, I think, okay, these could be the possibilities. Because the result is H2SO4 in my hand, a liquid that is acidic in nature, because these could be the reasons. You know, there is a combination of this and this that has come together, it is naturally present, or all of these possibilities leads to this solution. The fifth one is a very interesting and very important one. Anupalabdhi, learning through negation, learning through absence. Like a simple concept of, I don't have a deer running around me in this room is also a valid knowledge. A knowledge that out of these 4 options, MCQs when we do, out of these 4 options, I eliminate this is not right, this is not right, this is not right, and hence this is the right answer, right? That is Anupalabdhi. And hence we Indians came up with the concept of zero, right? Unavailability, not there. That is very, very sacred to us. We don't have, and hence there is. Okay, the concept of zero, the concept of the emotion of peace also. Absence of all the emotions is peace. This learning from absence is very, very powerful, and it is meant beautifully for the Indian mind. Okay. Then finally, the Shabda Pramana. When we talk about the Shrutis, there is no way to prove this. There are many concepts that cannot be empirically proved or proved with scientific experiments or proved with statistics. You just have to believe in them. Like there is an existence of an entity called a Brahman. Brahman is a god. It could be Shiva, it could be Ishvara, it could be Narayana, it could be anybody. There is existence of this entity called God. That is Shabda Pramana. I listen. It could be also at a gross level. Because my teacher is telling this, hence I believe her. Because my guru is telling this, hence I make this part of my belief system. That is Shabda Pramana. I believe in science, and hence I use this concept of science in my daily life. That is Shabda Pramana, right? So these are the Pramanas, and these Pramanas are important because when we come to Guru Shishya Parampara, how does the knowledge transfer happen? How does a concept of, let's say, what is happiness come into the world of a child, come into the world of a student, becomes a part of the belief system of the student? Somebody put up, a gift is what makes them happy. So from where does this transfer happen? How does this transfer happen? That is what is Guru Shishya Parampara. It's not about a human being teaching another human being. How does a knowledge become reality into my life is the Guru Shishya Parampara. And I'm going to take an example of a Tesla coil. I want you all to observe. I hope this video plays on this platform. Can you see this is a bulb that is glowing here? I want you to observe that the bulb is not connected electrically to any circuit here. It is this man who's holding this bulb. And let's see if it plays. It doesn't play. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting concept. You can probably look up this video online. You'll find a lot of videos with respect to Tesla coil. What happens is when the circuit is on, the light starts glowing when it comes into the field of this electromagnetic field of this coil, right? There is no circuit connection. There's no electrical, physical, metallic connection that is there, but still the bulb starts glowing. This is the metaphor that we are going to use to understand Guru Shishya Parampara, or how knowledge transfer happens from Guru to Shishya. So this is part of my science experiments that I do with preschoolers, and we are going to use their circuits to understand this. Imagine the source of energy that you see on the left, the battery, is the universal source of energy, the infinite knowledge that we talk about. When I am turning the switch on as a guru, I can see some hands raised. Okay, we'll come back to that. So as a guru, I am interested to learn. I want to explore, and hence I put my switch on. I make that connection with this source of knowledge. And the indication of that is that bulb that is glowing there. And when this connection is switched on, there is knowledge flow that happens, like how electricity flows in a circuit, like that knowledge flow happens in a circuit, and I receive this knowledge in my heart. So Indian knowledge systems are knowledge systems that focus on Hridaya. For us, everything is Hridaya, heart, and then heart to the brain. That's how we go. So I receive knowledge in this heart of mine. And because of this knowledge that I carry, there is a heart field that is created around me. And this is a scientifically proved concept that we all have a heart field. You can look it up. HeartMath has wonderful research regarding this. So I have this heart field, a field of knowledge that is around me, like the electron and electromagnetic field of a Tesla coil. And when somebody who is in sync with me, who is in harmony with me, who is resonating with me comes into this field, automatically my learning is transferred, is shared with this student of mine. And in this Tesla coil, imagine keeping one wooden block in front of the Tesla coil into that electromagnetic field. Keep it as close as you can. Does the wooden chunk glow? No, because it is not compatible. It is not resonating with that. And hence, it is absolutely essential that the guru, the teacher, and the student, the teacher and the receiver are on the same spectrum, are resonating together, are in the harmony. And here I'm talking about not an external student. It could be external. It could be me, myself. I am taking a book. I am studying. I am transferring the knowledge from the book to myself, to my heart, to my brain, to my entire being. That is what I'm talking about, knowledge transfer here. That is how Guru Shishya Parampara works in our culture. So next time I challenge you, every time you look at a Tesla coil, actually Tesla coils are very rare these days, but if you go to one science lab and all, they show, because it's very, very attractive to the human eye. Next time, whenever you look at a Tesla coil, understand how a human being learns. So the basic conclusion that I would like to give at the end of it is, your students, my students, will never learn until and unless I am learning. As a teacher, it becomes my responsibility to be available in this Tesla coil, in this electromagnetic field of knowledge, for the knowledge to transfer to my student. And I have to believe it in my heart. Why heart? Because it should be my reality. If I just say Tattvamasi, and without Tattvamasi is I am that, right? A concept from Upanishad. And if I don't believe in it, then my student will never imbibe it as part of their life. They might repeat it like a parrot, but that will never become their reality. If a concept is your reality, if a concept is part of your belief system, only then it will be authentically transferred to the child's belief system. If you don't believe in God, your child will not believe in God. And just by saying I believe in God, you don't believe in God. Okay. So we will take the metaphor of metamorphosis itself to understand, when does this knowledge need to be given? What point, what kind of knowledge needs to be given to children? So our knowledge systems start with, I think there's a slide missing here. Okay. So what happens is, in Indian knowledge systems, the samskaras, the education begins before birth, even before the child is conceived. 3 to 6 months before a human being comes into the womb of a mother, the learning has already started. Hence, it starts with Garbhadana. And there are 16 such milestones where important learning can happen. An example for this is, let's take Annaprashna. Annaprashna is a samskara where a child is ready to eat external food along with the breast milk. So there is a beautiful ritual that many families do, at least in South India, I know everybody does. We feed all 6 varieties of tastes, the sour, the sweet, the umami, all 6 varieties of tastes are spread on a plate and given to the child, and the child is cutely asked to choose whatever is your favorite. The child sometimes picks sweet, sometimes bitter, sometimes pungent. So that is a samskara that is done. Physically, yes, the child is now ready to eat external food, but at a spiritual level, it means that the child is ready to explore the world using his or her sense organs. The pratyaksha pramana that we were talking about, it is the time period between 6 months to around 3-4 years when pratyaksha pramana becomes extremely active, and hence the child starts exploring the world around using all the senses, including the mouth. You have seen children put every rubbish in their mouth, right? So that is what happens in the first few months. And like that, every samskara, every milestone has multiple connotations to it. And knowledge is given according to that. During Garbhadhana, during the Garbha Samskaras, before the child is born, Shrutis, the Vedas, the Upanishads, without meaning, without interpretations, are given to children. When they become toddlers, when they are born, then it is once again Shrutis and the Smritis are added, but as characters, as simple concepts, as stories. And you see this chrysalis stage where the larva is inside building a pupa for itself. That is a time where all the eating has happened by the caterpillar, right? No more eating now, no more consuming of knowledge. It is about using that knowledge, applying that knowledge to create itself, to build itself. So that is what happens in the pre-adolescence and adolescence stage. We are no longer giving them exposure to people or society or world around. It is about giving them time to churn, and come out with their ideologies, their opinions, their personality. Finally, the adult butterfly emerges, and that is the personality that comes out when a person goes through this entire spiral of Indian knowledge systems that we are talking about. And it is never one cycle. So after adult, I become a parent, I teach my children, and as my child goes through the cycle, I once again go through the cycle. This metamorphosis stage, the chrysalis stage, where the child is inside a pupa, inside that cocoon, is like all of us hit that midlife crisis. We go into that zone of, what am I doing? What is my purpose? Am I really meant to do this? Is this all that is left in my life? We are going through that metamorphosis once again, and we'll once again emerge as an adult butterfly. And once again, the cycle continues. My children have grown up. What am I doing again? Right? I am done. I'm 60 years old. I'm retired. What else is left in my life? So we keep on questioning, and the spiral is eternal. It keeps growing. And these, what to use at what stage, this is beautifully documented as part of our Puranas, as part of our Itihasas. Like Lord Rama was taught Yoga Vashishta, Krishna was taught Ramayana and life of Lord Rama. Today we learn the lives of these two great personalities, and like we mentioned before, they are very dynamic. They keep changing with time, and hence they are eternal. Today, what is relevant to us was not relevant for Lord Rama to learn. Or today, what we are learning may not be relevant to our grandchildren who are going to be living in a completely different world. So the knowledge systems have to keep changing, but the foundations still remain the same. Foundations are the eternal truths. Yes. So again, it is important to understand that it depends on my learning potential. It depends on the child's learning potential, where they are, where can they go. Whatever knowledge I give, in case it is not consumable, if the child does not have teeth to chew a carrot, then it is no point. A parent should not give a carrot to the child. It's simple common sense, right? So to summarize what we have done so far, the ingredients of Indian knowledge systems are the scriptures. Method is through Guru Shishya parampara, and right food, right nutrition given at the right time is what Indian knowledge systems give us. I cannot be giving, let's say, the interpretations of Upanishads to a toddler. It is not going to make sense to that toddler. That is reserved for an adolescent child. Okay. Finally, what is the outcome when a person goes through the Indian knowledge systems? Is we create a culture. Our culture has been a culture of learning. Everything in our civilization always pushes us, always points us towards learn something. You know, we have heard parents saying that, yo, we are spending so much money on you, at least learn something and come. Or, you know, even in the lower classes, go to school, at least learn something and come. So that at least learn something, that is a basic that we get, right? Our culture is push to learn, push to grow, push to evolve, become better, increase your awareness. That is what Indian knowledge systems give us. And it gives us learning potential. This is something that I don't see in any other culture, right? What is learning potential? Let's say how this animation plays out here. So I have this learning spiral here. In case there is a box around this learning spiral, then how much can you expect this learning spiral to grow? There is a limitation. But in case I am expanding that box, then the learning spiral can grow accordingly. And what if there is an infinite expansion to that, right? Learning potential is that. It's like that box. It is something that is creating a boundary for learning. In case my learning potential is limited, then my learning is limited. In case my learning potential is more, then my learning expands, and it goes on. That you can clearly see in classrooms, right? In a class of, let's say, 20 children, each child learns differently. Each child's results are different. Each child looks at information differently. Like how we did in the example before, the metaphor, each one of you had a different understanding. Each one of you have a different observation. Each one of you have a different outcome. So that is learning potential. It depends on your experiences, your understanding, your skills, your preconceived information and knowledge that you carry, not just from this lifetimes, but from many other previous lifetimes. And what I'm talking about perceptions is like you had a different understanding of the world. Like if you're seeing a shadow puppetry, you see as an audience from the front, but I believe Indian knowledge systems can give you the perception from behind also. What is happening behind the stage? We understand how the world functions with our senses, our mind, our emotions, but what happens beyond this? I think the only answer that I can find is from the Indian knowledge systems. That is the outcome that I find. The outcome could be different for everybody, okay? Like a Hitler took Bhagavad Gita and used it for a completely different purpose, right? To talk about that human body does not have a death. The human soul does not have a death, only body dies, soul does not die. He used it for a different purpose altogether. Even at the end of this session, you might conclude saying that these are not meant for me. Or you might say, wow, this sounds interesting. Let me explore more. Let me dig deeper. I don't believe in any of this. And all these perceptions are valid. Any of these perceptions can come out, and all of them are valid perceptions. We are a culture that can negate also. Charvakas are people who did not believe in Vedas. That also is part of our culture. Charvakas believe that only empirical proofs is what we look for. Only sensorial proof is what we look for. Anything that you say beyond this, we don't believe. And they are part of the Sanatana Dharma. So finally summarize, what are the ingredients? Ingredients are our scriptures. How the transfer happens? Indian knowledge systems are learned through a Guru Shishya parampara. And the outcome of this is life itself, life in its complete form. We have all kinds of people. We have many, many archetypes that live, breathe, and sustain in our culture, and all of them are valid. We don't negate. We don't have this concept of different learners, or we don't have concept of the spectrum of learners. No, for us, everybody is part of a culture. We have had somebody like Lord Skanda, who was extreme case of ADHD, and we have Lord Ganesha, whose body is absolutely unnatural. So all of them are part of our culture, and we respect each learner. Every learner has a path, and we respect their path. That is the outcome of Indian knowledge system. All right. So yeah, we pause here to answer your questions. Do you have any questions that come to your mind? And we'll come back to this presentation later. Any questions that come so far? We'll take 5 minutes for the questions and then go on to the application part of it, the Olympiad. I don't promise that I'll be answering your questions though. There's no guarantee that you'll get answers to your questions. Our culture is to ask questions. Answers you'll find. Thank you, Hetal ji, I truly enjoyed the Tesla coil. You should see how the toddlers enjoy the Tesla coil. Actually doing the experiment. There is a science experiment kit that comes with Tesla coil, and I've got them to do it. It is just amazing. All right, looks like very informative. Thank you. So that's not a question. So I think I'll move on. In case questions come up, please put them up on the chat. We'll take them up as and when they come. Okay. All right. So coming back to yes. So the applications of how you can use it in your class, you are already using it. I'm really happy. But here are a few more examples how you can use it in your personal lives. Iconographies. I am first talking about abstract concepts like Ganesha, right? Bring these iconographies in a child's life. Poonam's Day Out used to be the NCRT first chapter and third standard in EVS, if I'm not wrong. Now they've changed the syllabus last year, but previously it was Poonam's Day Out, and Poonam goes out to learn about animals and birds. It's in a different format now, but earlier it was Poonam's Day Out. So she explores elephants and giraffes. Not giraffe, giraffes are not part of India. I think ducks and peacocks in her surrounding. So what I do is, okay, we are talking about elephant. Whose vahana is the elephant? What does elephant represent to you? Who has elephant head? Bring these iconographies as part of their daily life. Panchanga. We all write date on the board. Today's date, today's class, and today's year. I mean, the year of 2025. Bring Panchanga into daily schedule, because Panchanga is a cosmic connection that we have. We don't believe that we are only the human beings living on earth independently. No, we believe that the cosmos has an impact on us and we have an impact on the cosmos. We are interdependent. So Panchanga is a calendar that will tell us what is the energy of the day. Is it a good day to do kinesthetic learning, or is it a good day to do musical learning? That is what Panchanga does to us. A simplest step is to write the tithi, the nakshatra, the vara of the day. And the complex or the advanced way of incorporating Panchanga is design your yearly calendars based on Panchanga. Every single day can be decided as per the energy of the day. So that is Panchanga. More about this in some other session. Metaphors and mentions. We spoke about metaphors. Use metaphors in your child's life, not just as part of their English language, because metaphors get you to think beyond what is observable with human eyes, what is observable beyond our senses. So include metaphors and mentions, and our Puranas give us amazing metaphors. Upanishads give us amazing metaphors. For example, this Urnanabhinyaya that I've mentioned here. It talks about a spider. Imagine observing a spider and coming out with this interpretation. Okay, just bamboozled me to use that phrase. A spider which can weave its web, it comes out from its stomach. It comes out from inside itself. It weaves the web, and at the end of it, the spider is very clever. It does not let the web there and go away. No, it swallows the entire web again. It reuses it. Okay, that is the observation, scientific observation. What is the nyaya that the Upanishad, what they tell us? We understand the nature of consciousness using the spider. We all are born in this world through Hiranyagarbha. We all have a source. After the end of our life, we go back to the source. A basic understanding, right? We all come from somewhere, go back to the same reality, right? So that is the Urnanabhinyaya. So every observation in our physical reality was pointed and was asked. The students were asked to reflect, how is it connected to your self-identity, to your consciousness, to your awareness. So that is the most amazing way to use Indian knowledge systems as part of your life. Yeah, is this quicker or faster way, or it's a need in the current world? Okay, interesting question. Quicker, faster, we don't even believe in a linear timeline. So what are we talking about quicker and faster? Our timeline is circular in nature. What are we achieving by doing fast or learning fast? It improves our learning potential. It gives us, the Indian knowledge systems give us the ability to learn as much as we want. Fast or slow is not something that I would like to comment on. It depends on the individual capacity. Is it a need in the current world? I believe absolutely yes. How many cultures talk about what is the purpose of your life? Or how many knowledge systems give you the idea of this is how you choose your life partner, right? What are the criteria using which you can choose a family for yourself? What are the criteria using which you can develop awareness about your own self? Awareness that goes beyond the mind itself, awareness that goes beyond the emotion itself, right? Where do my mindsets come from? Where does my learning potential come from? Why do all of us learn differently? How many of us get answers to these questions? But you'll find these answers in Indian knowledge systems, and hence I believe it's absolutely essential in the current. Okay, so yeah, if there are no more questions, let's talk about the Global Teachers Olympiad. Or just for some reason, the tables that I had put up are not being shown on the presentation. I'm not sure why.
Okay, Dipti, you can, if you want, you can upload a new presentation here itself if you want.
Okay,
A new slide needs to be uploaded, and if you have it in your possession, you can upload it and share your file.
let me try doing that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think I have the permission. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll use this metaphor right now. Probably what I have put up, I will tell all of you so that you know what to expect from the Global Teachers Olympiad, right? So we are using this metaphor again. Like, I just want to talk about what concepts are covered when you come to different stages. The foundational stage is like the egg and the toddler stage. So the topics that are covered, the strands that are covered are with respect to characters from the Purana, characters from the Itihasas, basic concepts of Panchanga, because that is what children in that age group need, right? This list you will also get from Hubble Hawks if they are taking. Am I right, Ojas, on that? They will get a list of what are the topics that.
Yes, so the topics are available on the Global Teachers Olympiad page, and they are available under the syllabus section of each level from foundational to secondary.
Yes. So
Yeah.
like that, when we go to the middle stage, then what is it that is relevant for students of that age group to learn, right? That is the syllabus that you will find in that stage. And when we come to the secondary stage, that is when they need interpretations of Upanishads. That is when they need opinions. They have to form their own opinions. They are going to become adults who are going to be contributive in this world. So they need to have their own opinions. So we are giving them ideas based on principal concepts like the Vedas, which are the core, that are the foundations, but interpretative in nature. They are discussion oriented. And hence, those are the topics that you would find in the secondary stage. So that is how the syllabus is designed for the Global Teachers Olympiad. Yes. And let's do one quick question. Don't worry, this is not going to come as part of your questionnaire, but just an example for you people to solve right now. Let me read out a question and you answer. A, B, C, D are your choices. It is based on the application of the concept of chakras. If you are aware about this, or take a random guess, it's okay. A yoga teacher is designing a class to help students overcome feelings of insecurity and instability. He includes a series of grounding postures and meditations focusing on the root. According to the yogic system, which of the following best explains why this approach targets the Mooladhara chakra? Okay, I'll put this question up in the chat also for you all to read. Yes. Now your options are: the Mooladhara is located at the base of the spine and its grounding nature is believed to resolve feelings of insecurity. That is option A. Okay. Option B, Mooladhara is associated with the element of air, which helps to calm the nervous system. Is this a justification? Option C, the Mooladhara's primary function is emotional expression, which is a key component of emotional stability, and hence the practice was right. Option D, the Mooladhara governs the throat and neck, which are essential for communication and self-expression. I'm putting down these options also in the chat box. You can choose which you think is the right option, and you can put in your chat. Option A, Aparna ji says option A. A. Great. Okay. Awesome. The right answer is option A, because Mooladhara chakra is the root chakra, Moola Adhara. If you just understand the word Moola Adhara, right? Part of our everyday language, Moola means basic, Adhara on which everything else rests. So it is a grounding chakra. That is the chakra that needs to be grounded for us to come back and bring our security and stability. It is a chakra that is meant for security and stability. So these are the kind of questions that you would find as part of your Olympiad. Yeah. I think, Ojas, if we have time, we could do one more question. If not, we can conclude. I think this is a great time to conclude.
Yeah, sure. We can conclude this part of the session. So first of all, thank you, Deepti, for taking us through some really interesting, informative, and insightful facts about the Indian knowledge systems. I would say that it is after NEP including this as a part of the cross-cutting areas or cross-cutting themes, it is going to be really interesting to see how all of the educators are integrating them into their everyday teaching and classroom learning strategies. So thank you for that. Now I am just going to take up the next part of this session, which is going to be a little bit of introduction about the different teacher development initiatives are there as a part of the Hubblocks offering, so that all of you can benefit from what we are doing, just like this webinar on Indian knowledge systems. Um, Allow me a moment, and I shall share my screen. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Okay, perfect. Um, so, uh, yeah, it is visible, right? Perfect. So, just to give all of you an idea about what different teacher development initiatives we are taking up at Hubblehawks. Basically, Hubblehawks is a technology company, as I just mentioned, and we are working very closely with a lot of schools, educators, higher education institutions as well, at the same time with the government, which is state government, and the central government as well, in various initiatives to uplift different areas in education. One such area that we target is teacher development, and we are trying to basically solve three main problems in teacher development. One is certain training models which are currently not relevant. Most of us know that there are a lot of teacher training, teacher development initiatives, but a lot of them currently are not up to date with what everybody is doing. And we are also having this other problem, which is fragmented delivery, that there is no one common thread that actually connects all deliveries or all initiatives that usually people have for teacher development. And we solve that problem with different teacher selection, teacher training, and teacher assessment initiatives. We also have another problem, which is limited evaluation and progression. We always see that we take up so many training programs. However, we fail to understand, evaluate, and also audit on how impactful they are. So I think these are the problems that we are trying to solve as a part of our organization. Our overall vision is to have a holistic teacher empowerment. And to be able to do that, we have different ways in which we do it. We have contextual and experiential learning. We have digital integration and accessibility for all teachers. And then we have continuous assessment and improvement and career pathways. We have different teacher training programs, and that's a very important initiative that we have taken up. We have tied up with a couple of organizations and institutions which have high reputation for delivering teacher training programs. One such institution is called the SNDT Women's University Chetna Center, which is Center for Holistic Education Training and Novel Advancements. What we have basically done is we have curated 9 different certificate courses which are designed for foundational level teachers and which are directly aligned with the NEP 2020 goals. Okay, what we are offering here is basically different courses or programs in general which are accredited programs and which have got which follow the UGC norms for credit transfers as well, which is in child growth and development, to theoretical and philosophical perspectives, pedagogical studies, curriculum studies, to 21st century skills and inclusive education. So there are different areas that we cover overall in these programs that we offer. At the same time, we have, for all of you, we have taken up this initiative called Hubble Ascend, which is a which is basically like a learn while you earn sort of an opportunity, where you work closely with our partners, that is Vibgyor group of schools. You work for 1 year, you will be given a scholarship and a complete program of SNDT which is worth 20 credits for the year, and at the same time you do the program and gain the practical exposure for 1 year in the schools, at the same time earn a stipend. Okay, so that's another initiative that we have taken up. Then we have also collaborated with the Indian Women Scientists Association, recognizing the importance of educators in the ECC domain and the excellent work that this organization is doing, especially with all their mentors who have been ex-scientists of the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, of the DRDO, of the ISRO, and other reputed organizations, right? And these programs that we offer are educational assessment and evaluation, safety and security for early years, and 21st century skills. So these are the three programs that we offer in collaboration with the Indian Women Scientists Association. Then we have also partnered with the IITED, which is International Institute for Teacher Education and Development. And this is the university or the institution that is basically working closely for the development initiatives of Hubble Hawks, where we are offering advanced certificate in foundational education of around 14 credits, and diploma in foundational education, which is of another 20 credits. So these are two initiatives that we have taken up. At the same time, as all of you, or rather most of you, might be aware, and also Ms. Deepti spoke about this during her session, is the Global Teachers Olympiad. The Global Teachers Olympiad is first NEP 2020 aligned Olympiad in India, where we are not only checking the subject knowledge of all the teachers, but at the same time we focus on the skills, which are communication skills, digital literacy, Indian knowledge systems, general ability, and pedagogy. So these are the initiatives, these are the skills that you will be tested on as a part of our initiative. Sorry, my bad. Overall, through all of these initiatives, our mission is to have empowered teachers and brighter futures for all the children that are studying in the country today. So that is what our initiatives are for. And if you would like to understand more about our initiatives, feel free to contact us on these numbers, email IDs, and website links that you can see here. Feel free to give us a call or write an email to us. We will be in touch with you. Our team will be in touch with you and help you out to overall help you in your continuous professional development journeys. Thank you so much, all of you. I want to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to Deepti as well for having this insightful session with us. She has been extremely kind and supporting us in most of our initiatives that we are doing at Hubble Hawks. Thank you so much, Deepti. Thank you to all attendees present here for today's session. It was wonderful having all of you here for this session today, and we will be having more such sessions in the days, weeks, and months to come.
Thank you so much, Ojas, and thank you to all the participants also. It was lovely doing this for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.